Ladies and gentlemen, some people won't steal your wallet, but they will steal something far more valuable. Your peace, your confidence, your dignity. They won't break into your house. They'll break into your mind and your heart, one small request at a time. And the dangerous part, they won't come wearing a warning label. They'll come smiling, laughing, maybe even saying they love you. But the truth is, the wrong requests from the wrong people can turn your life into a slow, burning fire you don't notice until everything you've built is gone. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 things people will ask of you that should make you stop, think, and protect yourself before it's too late. You can't see it, but your energy is like currency. Every day you wake up with a certain amount of it. And just like money, you can spend it wisely or waste it. The difference is money you can earn back. Energy. Once it's gone, it's gone. And it doesn't matter if you have dreams to chase, goals to reach, or battles to fight. Without it, you're running on empty. The problem is, some people know how to take your energy without ever asking for it out loud. They don't have to. They'll show up with drama, with negativity, with endless problems they have no intention of solving. They'll call you for advice, when really, they just want someone to dump their burdens on. And you'll listen, you'll encourage, you'll try to help. But notice, the moment you start talking about your life, they're nowhere to be found. That's not a relationship. That's a one-way street. And one-way streets lead to dead ends. Protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's survival. Because the truth is, you cannot pour into others if your own cup is empty. And no matter how kind you are, no matter how much you care, there are people out there who will take and take and take until you've got nothing left. They're not evil. They're not always aware. But their needs will become your exhaustion if you don't draw a line. It starts small. A friend calls you late at night with a crisis. You drop everything to be there. Then it's 2 nights a week. Then it's every time they feel lonely, anxious, or bored. And before long, you realize you're rearranging your entire life to fit into theirs, while they're not making the same effort for you. And it's not just about time. Some people drain you mentally with constant complaints, with gossip, with criticism. You walk away from the conversation feeling heavier than when you started. That's your body telling you something's wrong. Your spirit knows when it's being drained. It's that knot in your stomach, that weight in your chest, that little voice saying, "This doesn't feel right." Too many people ignore that voice because they don't want to seem rude, or cold, or unkind. But let me tell you, protecting your energy is the only way you can show up fully for the people and things that actually matter. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to something that could fill you. Sometimes that means stepping back from people you've known for years. Sometimes it means cutting ties completely. And that's hard, especially when you care about them. But you've got to remember, you're not their savior. You're not their therapist. You're not their emotional garbage can. You're a human being with your own battles, your own dreams, and your own need for peace. The people who really love you won't just take your energy. They'll protect it too. They'll know when you're tired, when you need space, when you can't give more right now. And they'll respect that. Those are the people you invest in. Those are the people you build with. Because here's the truth. You attract what you allow. If you keep giving and never setting limits, you'll keep attracting people who see you as an endless resource. And one day, you'll wake up realizing you've been carrying people who should have been walking beside you. The strongest thing you can do is learn to say no without guilt, yes without pressure, and goodbye without fear. That's not cruelty, that's wisdom. And it's the only way to keep your energy for the things and people that truly deserve it. Now, once you've learned to protect your energy, you have to guard something even deeper. Your values. Your values are your compass. They're what tell you who you are and where you're going. Without them, you're lost. And the wrong people will always try to pull you off course. Sometimes it's obvious. They'll ask you to lie for them, cheat for them, bend the truth to make life easier for them. Other times it's subtle. They'll chip away at your standards little by little until you don't even realize how far you've drifted from the person you want to be. It can start with one small compromise. It's just this once. It's not a big deal. Everyone does it. You convince yourself it's harmless. But compromises are like cracks in a foundation. One may not seem like much, but enough of them will bring the whole structure down. You have to understand your values are not for sale, not for approval, not for love, not for belonging. The minute you trade your integrity for someone's acceptance, you've already lost more than you've gained. Because here's the thing, if they only want you when you bend your values, they never wanted you in the first place. They wanted a version of you they could control. The world will always have people who try to tempt you out of your character. Maybe it's friends who pressure you to do something you're not comfortable with. Maybe it's a partner who says you're boring or too strict because you have standards. Maybe it's family who tells you to just keep quiet when you know you should speak up. And if you're not careful, you'll start to believe them. But strength is not in going along with the crowd. It's in standing alone when you have to. It's in looking someone in the eye and saying, I can't do that. That's not me. And yes, it may cost you relationships, but losing someone who doesn't respect your values is not really a loss. It's a filter. The truth is, people will test your boundaries to see if you mean them. They'll push your limits to see if you'll bend. And once you bend for them, they'll expect you to keep bending. That's why you have to set your standards like concrete, not sand. Guarding your values also means being honest with yourself about what they are. It's easy to say you believe in something until it's inconvenient. It's easy to say you have a standard until keeping it costs you something. The real test isn't what you say you value. It's what you refuse to trade, even when it hurts. And here's the thing. When you stand by your values, the right people will find you. The ones who live by the same principles. The ones who don't want you to compromise because they wouldn't compromise either. Those are the relationships that last because they're built on the same foundation. So many people give away their values because they're afraid of being alone. But what's the point of being surrounded by people who only like the version of you that betrays yourself? That's not company. That's a performance. When you guard your values, you filter your relationships. You don't have to cut people off out of anger. The ones who can't handle your boundaries will leave on their own. And that's okay, because every person who leaves makes room for someone who respects you. Your energy and your values, those are your lifelines. Without them, you'll be pulled in every direction by people who care more about what you can give them than who you are. With them, you can walk into any room, face any situation, and know that no matter what happens, you didn't lose yourself in the process. You ever notice how some people have a way of twisting a situation so that they always end up the victim, even when they're the one causing the problem? They'll look you right in the eye and with a straight face, make you feel guilty for something you didn't even do. That's manipulation, and it's one of the most dangerous, silent forces in any relationship. See, manipulators aren't always loud. They don't always come storming in, yelling, demanding, or throwing tantrums. No, some of them are quiet, calculated. They play on your emotions like a piano, pressing the keys they know will make you move the way they want. And the scariest part, they make it feel like you're the one making the choice. They'll call it just a joke. When they put you down in front of others, they'll say, you're too sensitive, when you point out the hurt in their words. That's not humor, that's erosion. Every little jab is like a drop of water on stone. You don't see the damage at first, but over time it wears you down. Until one day, you look in the mirror and you're not sure who you are anymore. A manipulator will turn love into a transaction. Every nice thing they do for you will have a price tag attached, and they'll be sure to remind you of it when they want something. Remember that time I helped you? Now you owe me. That's not love. That's business. And it's bad business. They know your soft spots. Maybe it's your kindness. Maybe it's your fear of losing people. Maybe it's that deep desire to be understood. And they'll use those very things, the beautiful parts of you, as weapons against you. That's why you have to be alert. You have to notice patterns, not promises. Because a manipulator can promise you the world while selling off your peace piece by piece. If every conversation leaves you doubting yourself, feeling smaller or guilty for having boundaries, you're not in a relationship. You're in a trap. And I know some people stay because they believe they can fix them. But you can't heal someone who uses your love as leverage. You can't pour enough of yourself into them to change their nature, because their nature is to take, not to grow. The more you give, the more they'll want. And it won't be long before you realize you're running on fumes, still hearing, it's not enough. A manipulator isn't always evil in a cartoon, villain way. Sometimes they're broken people who never learned how to get love without controlling it. But broken or not, the damage they cause is real. And if you don't set boundaries, they'll rearrange the map of your life so that every road leads back to them. You have to be willing to lose people who aren't willing to lose control over you. That's not cold-hearted. That's survival. That's self-respect. And when you step away, don't be surprised if they try to pull you back in with apologies, tears, or promises. Words are cheap. Patterns are the proof. Now, let's talk about something just as dangerous, but in a different way. Money. Not because money is bad. Money is neutral. It's the hands it's in that make it good or bad. And when someone repeatedly asks you for your money without showing any effort to earn their own, that's not help they're seeking. That's dependency. And dependency is a silent poison. See, there's a difference between lifting someone up and carrying someone who refuses to walk. We've all had moments where we've needed help. A tough month, an unexpected bill, a medical emergency. Helping in those moments is kindness. But when it becomes a pattern, when the hand is always out and never working, you're not helping anymore. You're funding their comfort while they avoid responsibility. And some people have mastered the art of making you feel bad for saying no. They'll tell you about all their struggles, all the things they can't do without your help, all the dreams they'll have to give up. And you, with your big heart, will start thinking, what's a little bit of money to me if it can make such a big difference to them? But here's the truth, it's never a little bit to them. It's an open door. And once it's open, it's hard to close. I've seen people destroy friendships, family bonds, even marriages over this. Because money doesn't just leave your bank account, it leaves with a piece of trust. And when you realize that someone never intended to stand on their own feet, resentment starts to grow. There's another side to it too. When you constantly bail someone out, you rob them of the lessons they need to learn to survive. Struggle teaches resourcefulness. Hardship builds resilience. If you remove those lessons by always rescuing them, you're not helping them grow. You're keeping them small. And some will go further. They'll take your help, then act like you owe them more. They'll remind you of times you didn't help, painting you as selfish, unkind, or uncaring. That's not gratitude. That's manipulation wrapped in financial need. Now, let's make something clear. Being generous is beautiful. But generosity without discernment is a trap. You can give so much to the wrong people that you have nothing left for the right ones, including yourself. If you say no and they turn cold, angry or distant, remember, they were never loyal to you. They were loyal to what you gave them. And if your relationship depends on you constantly paying, it's not a relationship. It's a transaction with feelings attached. Some people will only understand the value of money when they have to earn it themselves. And if they never have to, they never will. That's why you have to set boundaries early. Not because you don't care, but because you do, about yourself, your future, and your ability to help those who truly need it when the time comes. You work hard for what you have. Your money represents your time, your effort, your sacrifices. When you hand it over, you're giving away pieces of your life. Don't give those pieces to someone who's only going to waste them. There's a saying, if you loan a friend $20 and never hear from them again, it was worth the 20 boy. Meaning you paid to see their true character. And sometimes that's the cheapest lesson you'll ever get. But here's the thing. Manipulators and financial exploiters often overlap. They'll play on your emotions, mix guilt with gratitude, and make you feel like you're their only hope. And once you believe that, they've got you exactly where they want you. The moment you start believing someone's survival depends entirely on you is the moment you've stopped seeing them as capable. And when you stop seeing them as capable, you give them permission to stop trying. It's not your job to carry grown adults who refuse to walk. It's not your responsibility to keep someone's life together while they keep making choices that pull it apart. You can care for people without carrying them. You can love them without funding their irresponsibility. Your compassion is a gift, but even gifts have limits. And if you don't protect it, the wrong people will drain it until there's nothing left for you or anyone else. That's why these two, the manipulators and the financial exploiters, are so dangerous. Because they don't just take your time, your energy, or your money. They take your sense of worth, your trust in people, and your faith in your own boundaries. And once those are gone, you become an open door for anyone who knows how to walk through it. The truth is, you have to love yourself enough to close that door. Not slam it in anger, not lock it out of bitterness, but close it out of wisdom. Because wisdom says, if I let the wrong people stay, I make no room for the right ones. You ever had someone look at you with tears in their eyes and say, if you loved me, you would do this for me? You ever had someone sigh in disappointment, shake their head, and say, I guess I just don't matter to you? That right there is emotional blackmail. It's one of the most subtle, most manipulative, and most toxic tools a person can use. And it works because it's not just attacking your mind, it's attacking your heart. See, a thief who breaks into your house to take your valuables. You can see them coming. You can call the police. You can change the locks. But a person who breaks into your heart through guilt and emotional pressure, they don't need to pick a lock. You'll open the door yourself because they make you feel like closing it makes you cruel. Emotional blackmail works because it takes the purest thing you have, your love, your care, your loyalty, and turns it into a leash. And the more you love, the tighter that leash gets. People who use this tactic don't always yell or threaten directly. Sometimes they go quiet. They withdraw. They pout. They give you the cold shoulder until you come running to ask what's wrong. And when you do, they'll tell you, in just the right tone, that the problem is you. Not because you've done something truly wrong, but because you didn't do what they wanted. And that's the key. Emotional blackmail isn't about right or wrong. It's about control. It's about creating a world where your choices are not really choices at all because anything they don't like comes with a penalty. Withdrawal, anger, shame, or worse, the threat of leaving. Some will even escalate. They'll say, if you don't do this, I don't know if I can keep being in your life. They might not mean it, but they know you fear losing them. And fear is a powerful motivator, especially for people who love deeply. But here's the truth. Love given under threat isn't love at all. It's compliance. It's survival. And when you have to constantly earn someone's affection by meeting their demands, you stop being a partner and start being a hostage. It can happen in any relationship. Romantic, family, friendship, even at work. It's that constant feeling that if you don't sacrifice your needs, your time, your boundaries, you'll be punished. And it wears you down. At first you tell yourself, it's just one time. But one time turns into every time. And before long, you've trained yourself to put their needs above yours just to keep the peace. The danger is, people who use emotional blackmail often paint themselves as the victim. They'll say they just need more from you, or that you don't understand how much they're hurting. And maybe they are hurting, but hurting doesn't give you the right to hurt others in return. You have to know the difference between helping someone in their pain and becoming a prisoner to it. Love is not meant to be an emotional debt you can never repay. If you've ever been in this situation, You know, the knot in your stomach, the anxiety before saying no, the endless mental rehearsal of how to phrase something so they won't explode or withdraw. That's not love. That's fear dressed as devotion. And fear will keep you trapped as long as you let it. The only way to break free is to be willing to face the consequence they threaten you with. If they say they'll leave, you have to be willing to say, then go. If they threaten to be upset, you have to be willing to let them be upset. Because the moment you stop paying the ransom, they lose their power over you. And when you stop living in fear of losing them, you start gaining yourself back. Your peace. Your freedom, your right to say no without guilt. This is where we move into something even more important. The kind of relationships you should be fighting for. Mutual respect. That's the foundation. That's the whole structure. Without it, nothing else stands. And when I say respect, I'm not talking about politeness or courtesy. I'm talking about a deep recognition that you are a whole, valuable person with your own thoughts, needs, and limits. And that those things matter just as much as theirs. In a relationship built on mutual respect, you don't have to beg for consideration. You don't have to explain why your boundaries exist, as if you're asking for special permission. The other person sees you as an equal, not a tool, not a wallet, not an emotional punching bag. Mutual respect means that no is accepted without argument. It means that your time is not taken for granted. Your generosity is not exploited, and your kindness is not mistaken for weakness. And here's the thing. Respect isn't just about what they do when they're with you. It's also about what they say about you when you're not around. If someone speaks highly of you in public, but tears you down in private, that's not respect. That's performance. Real respect protects you even when you're not there to protect yourself. It's also not something you can force out of someone. You can't make a person respect you by loving them harder, by giving them more, by bending further. Respect is a choice they make, and if they don't choose it, you can't stay and hope it appears one day. Mutual respect is not just the absence of abuse. It's the presence of care. It's the way someone listens when you speak, even if they don't agree. It's the way they check in on how you're feeling, not just what you're doing for them. And it goes both ways. You can't demand respect without giving it. That means you have to be willing to hear no from them too. You have to value their time, their boundaries, their effort. Mutual respect is not about one person winning and the other losing. It's about both of you protecting each other's dignity, like it's your own. The relationships where you can be fully yourself, where you can disagree without disrespect, where you can say no without fear. Those are the relationships worth keeping. Those are the people you build with, grow with, trust with your heart. And if you've ever been in something without that, you know how different it feels. Without mutual respect, love becomes fragile. You're always guarding yourself, always trying to guess their reaction, always bracing for the next small cut. But when respect is there, love becomes solid. You feel safe. You feel valued. You feel like you're not just someone in their life, but someone whose life matters to them. That's why, when you spot the absence of respect, you have to pay attention. It doesn't matter how charming, attractive, or successful someone is. If they don't respect you, it will erode you. Slowly at first, then all at once. It's easy to tell yourself, they'll change. They'll see my worth eventually. But someone who can't see your worth today may never see it. And your life is too short to wait for someone to give you what they should have given from the start. People who truly value you will never make you question whether they respect you. It will be obvious in their words, their actions, their consistency. They won't just treat you well when they need something from you. They'll treat you well because that's who they are. And the truth is, when you learn to demand respect, you also learn to give it to yourself. You stop making excuses for bad behavior. You stop lowering your standards just to keep someone around. You stop measuring your worth by how much you can endure. You begin to understand that love without respect is just dependency, and dependency without respect is a cage. And the day you walk away from disrespect, whether it's in the form of manipulation, financial exploitation, emotional blackmail, or any other poison, is the day you start living free. Not just free from them, but free from the belief that you have to accept less than you deserve. Because the truth is, you don't just deserve to be loved. You deserve to be respected. And when both exist together, you're not just in a relationship. You're in a partnership that builds, not breaks, that strengthens, not drains. And that's the kind of connection worth everything you've got.